Hi everyone. We are starting with the next module, which is chapter E and F. So chapter E and F comes under a broader classification of algebra. Now from chapter E, the first topic that we have is linear equations and inequations. So let's begin with a question discussion. The first question that we have from this idea: some of the ages of the four members of the family is 95 years. Father's age is four times the son's age, and daughter is one fourth of mother's age. If the difference between the age of the father and mother is 4 years, father is elder to mother, then find the age of the son. So here that one line at the end of the last end of the third line, that one part father is elder to mother, I think it is not there in your EOL sheets. So make that corrections because that part is very critical, because the statement before that says the difference between the age of the father and mother is 4 years. Now, whenever we talk about difference, technically, we would never come to know which one is bigger and which one is smaller. So, that next part is very important for you to decide because they're specifying that father is elder to mother. So, we'll take f minus m as 4 basically. So if suppose that statement would have not been given, then the answer would have been cannot be determined, because then the difference can be either f minus m is 4 or m minus f is 4. I mean, either of mother or father can be elder, that we'll need to assume and solve. So we would have got two cases. But here the case is very clear. So the first thing that you do is make that correction, add that part extra in your sheets as well, that father is elder to mother, so that we can actually solve this question. That's the very first part before we start with the solution. The second part that you need to understand is the age of the sun. The age of the sun is what we are supposed to find. There are four variables. So try to convert the other three in terms of sun only. Now, how do we do that? So four members, let's assume their ages. Father's age is F, daughter's age is D, mother's age is M, and son's age is S. And all of the four people, the sum of their ages is 95. So that is the first equation. Then the second equation is father is 4 times the son. So in place of f, I can replace that with 4s. Father is 4 times the son. Then mother and daughter, there is a relation that the daughter is one fourth of the mother. So mother will be 4 times the daughter. And then we'll have to solve the difference wala equation. The difference between father and mother is 4 years. So f minus m is 4. In place of f, we'll say 4s, and in place of m, we'll say 4d. So actually, our equation becomes 4s minus 4d is equal to 4. Take 4 common outside, divide throughout by 4, you will get s minus d as 1, and that means d is equal to s minus 1. So in short, what we have done is converted the third variable, which is daughter, also in terms of the sun, because we are supposed to find out the sun's age. So d ki jagah pe we'll substitute s minus 1, and then now you'll see that the bigger equation, entire that equation is converted into only one variable. You solve that equation, the value of s, that is the age of the sun that you will get after solving that, will be 10 years old. So answer of this question is 10 years old. Huh? If that part, father is elder than mother, would have not been given, then the answer would have been cannot be determined. But here they have mentioned specifically, so we'll mark S as 10 years because now we can find out the answer. So that is your first question. Second one, the combined age of mother and daughter is 6 years less than the combined age of father and daughter. So the first equation will be m plus d, combined age of mother and daughter, 6 less minus 6, then what? Combined age of father and daughter, that is f plus d minus 6. Second equation, 25 years ago, father was 3 times as old as mother. So if the current age of father is f, 25 years ago, it will be f minus 25. And the father was 3 times as old as mother. So 25 years ago, f minus 25 is the father's age, which is 3 times in bracket as old as mother. So mother will also be 25 years ago, will be m minus 25. Two equation, two unknowns, solve them simultaneously. Question is father's present age. So first equation is this. Second equation is this. From the first equation, what you can do is cancel out d from both the sides, and you will get an equation in m and f itself, which is f minus m is 6 years. Solve the second one, multiply by 3 throughout, do the plus minuses accordingly. And second equation, you get that is f minus 3m is equal to minus 50. Now you will subtract both the equations because then you can get rid of father and then you will get the value of mother. Whatever is the value of mother, substitute in the first equation, you'll get father's present age. So after solving this, you will get mother as 28. Subtract equation number 2 from equation number 1. Substitute that value of mother, which is 28, in the first equation, and you will get father's age as 28 plus 6, which is 34 years. So answer is option 2. Third one, in a series of 4 consecutive even integers, the product of the smallest and the largest numbers is equal to 352. What is the product of the second and the third term of the series? So let's first of all try to understand how you can represent 4 consecutive integers. Consecutive is back to back, even integers, even numbers, you know that now. So suppose if the first number is x, the immediate next even number will be x plus 2. One after that will be x plus 4, and one after that will be x plus 6, basically. So the product of the smallest and the largest, that is x into x plus 6, is 352. I have assumed x, they are taking n, doesn't matter, just the different representation. So product and the smallest and the largest, that is n into n plus 6, is 352. Solve that equation, you will get n square plus 6n is equal to 352. And then they were asking what is the product of the second and the third term. So second and the third term are n plus 2 and n plus 4. When you actually multiply them, what you will end up getting is n square plus 6n plus 8. And n square plus 6n is what you have already figured out from the first part of the solution, which is 352. So just substitute that. So the final answer is 352 plus 8, which is 360. The beauty of all these questions or equations is the moment you can correctly form the equations, half the job is already done. Obviously, then it is equally important that you solve them correctly also, for which you will need practice. The fourth one, in an election, it was expected that 5/8 of the voters would vote for Babu Rao and the remaining will vote for Ganpat Rao. At the last moment, however, 30 of Babu Rao's voters voted for Ganpat Rao, whereas 6 of Ganpat Rao's voters voted for Babu Rao. As a result, Babu Rao, who would have otherwise won the election, now lost by a margin of 2 votes. How many voters voted for Ganpat Rao? So classic question, 5/8 and the remaining will be 3/8. So that tells me that the total number of voters has to be a multiple of 8. So what I'll do is I'll assume that the total voters are 8x. Then what happened? 5/8 of the total voters, that is 8x. Yani 5 by 8 of 8x will be 5x. So 5x people voted for Babu Rao and remaining, that is 3x voted for Ganpat Rao. But then there is a shift that has happened. And what is that shift? 30 of Babu Rao's voters voted for Ganpat Rao. So those 30 from Babu Rao will go to Ganpat Rao. And then 6 of Ganpat Rao's voters voted for Babu Rao. So minus 6 plus 6. And because of all this transfer, what happened was Babu Rao, who would have otherwise won the election, now lost by a margin of 2 votes. So what is the interpretation of this statement? Babu Rao would have otherwise won the election, now lost by a margin of 2 votes. This tells us that now, obviously, because of all this shifting, instead of Babu Rao, Ganpat Rao has won the election. And the second part is by margin of 2 votes, he has won. Yane, the difference between their votes is 2. And obviously, because Ganpat Rao is winning, so Ganpat Rao will get higher number of votes. So Ganpat Rao's total votes minus Babu Rao's total votes, the difference has to be equal to 2. This is a very, very important representation or the interpretation of that statement that you should realize in terms of forming the equation so that you can solve that. So if I do the total, Ganpat Rao is 3x plus 30 minus 6, which is 3x plus 24. For Babu Rao, it is 5x minus 24. The difference is 2. So this is the equation. When you solve this equation, x is equal to 23. And once you get that x is equal to 23, what the question that they were asking is the total number of voters that voted for Ganpat Rao, which is 3x plus 24, which is 93. So option 3. The next one, the sum of the ages of a mother and a daughter is 50 years. Also, 5 years ago, the mother's age was 7 times the age of the daughter. The present ages of mother and daughter, respectively, are. Classic question again. Sum is 50, m plus d is 50. 5 years ago, that is m minus 5 and d minus 5, their ages will be. And mother was, so m minus 5 is equal to 7 times the age of the daughter. That is 7 into d minus 5. Two equation, two unknown. Solve them simultaneously. You'll get your answer. So either you can do that, or what you can do is from one first equation, maybe instead of m, you can substitute that as 50 minus d everywhere. Instead of m, you can substitute the second equation, the value of m as 50 minus d, and you will get the value of d after solving this, which turns out to be 10. Substitute in the first equation, m is 40. So the respective ages of mother and daughter is 40 and 10 respectively. Answer option 3. Sixth one, Kamla got married 6 years ago. So suppose if her current age is k, 6 years ago her age will be k minus 6. Today her age is 1 by 4 times her age at the time of her marriage. So 1 by 4 is 5 by 4. And today her age. So today her age, we have assumed it to be k, which is 5 by 4 times her age at the time of her marriage. She got married 6 years ago. So 5 by 4 times k minus 6. You solve that, you'll get the value of k. And her son's age is 1 by 10 times her age. So once you get the value of k, divide that by 10 and you will get her son's age. So I think after solving, you will get the value of k as 30 and her son's age will be 1 by 10 times of that. So that means 30 into 1 by 10, which is 3 years old. Option 2. Pretty simple and a straightforward question. So you can see literally in 2, 3, 4 lines, you can get the answer. And that is what will happen if you can form the equations correctly in terms of interpretation. So read slow, break it down in small, small pieces. Let that sink in the information, how you can think about it and represent in terms of equations. The seventh one is not from your syllabus, which is basically deals with three unknowns. So we'll skip that. No need to worry about that. Now, eighth and the ninth, these are the two questions which are based on the second idea of this topic, which is inequations. And inequation questions are slightly different in terms of asking as well. So the question is, if x upon y is greater than 4 and x plus y is equal to 7, then which of the following is true? So x upon y is greater than 4. That means there is a fraction which is greater than 4, which implies that it's a positive value of a fraction. Now think of this in a reverse manner when a fraction is positive. So whenever either both numerators and denominators are positive or both numerators and denominators are negative, that is when the fraction is positive. But when you look at the other equation, x plus y is equal to 7, this tells us that the same two numbers, which are the numerator and the denominator of the fraction, both their sum is plus 7, which is a positive answer. And this should tell you that the second case of the first part, that is both x and y are negative, that will cancel out each other. Why? Because we are saying that the same two numbers, if they are negative, how their sum can be positive, right? Those numbers cannot be negative. Those numbers has to be positive only. So this tells us both x and y are positive. That has confirmed the assumption that we had made earlier. And now we can easily go ahead after this. So after that step, what will be the natural transition is that y, which is there in the denominator on the left side, will go on the right side and multiply 4 with that y. And because now we have said that y is positive, and if you remember inequation ka rule, folks, whenever you multiply or divide by a positive value, the sign of inequation don't change. It remains the same. Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, only then the sign of inequation changes. Whenever you multiply with a positive number, the sign of inequation doesn't change. It remains the same. That was the rule. So x is greater than 4y, obviously. Why? Because the y that we are multiplying the 4 with is a positive number. And if, because it's a positive number, so it will not change the sign. So yes, this option is true, which is first option. Your application of inequation rule. Similarly is the second one, but slightly trickier in the sense of understanding of the data. Again, they are saying if there is a fraction x upon y which is less than 1 and x is also less than 1, then which of the following will always be true? So what you understand from this is, again, there is a fraction which is less than 1. So we'll need to expand our thinking in terms of understanding this data. That when we say that the fraction is less than 1, it means both the conditions. Either it can be a positive number, which is 0 point something, the value, or it can be a negative number as well. And when that happens, you need to now also consider the second part of the condition, which is the value of x, which is less than 1. So what will happen is you will have two scenarios, either when the fraction is positive and when the fraction is negative. And in that aspect, because they have given the value of x to be less than 1, you need to also have similarly two equivalent cases for the values of x and y. I mean, what will be the relation between x and y? Who will be bigger when and who will be smaller when, and so on. And that is going to give us the answer. So first you need to understand this part very clearly. So fraction can be either positive, we are assuming y is greater than 0, and because x is less than y, sorry, x is less than 1, the relation between x and y in that case will be that x will be less than y. And when the fraction is negative, that is y is less than 0, then the relation between x and y will reverse, that x has to be greater than y. What you can do best for this to understand or sink in your heads is maybe assume few values which are easy to understand. And now what will happen is the another trick part of this question is the options scenario. So there are few such questions like this which, the other options are not completely wrong or so, but you have to select the one that is best suitable, which will probably take care of everything. And considering that in mind, what is going to happen right now is there are few options which actually takes you through both the cases, but because of some additional pluses or minuses in terms of wordings of the options, we'll have to mark the one that is best suited. So first is correct, but I think fourth one is the better option because it takes care of all the situation, both the situation it considers, and also with the help of or. I think third option or so has the similar scenario, but the only difference between third and the fourth one, that is it has and and means both these cases will be simultaneously true at same point of time, which is not going to happen because they are opposite cases. So the fourth one, which is best suited, which takes care of both the situations. So this is the best option out of the available ones. That does not mean the others are entirely wrong. It just means that it is a better option. So you need to be extra careful in regards with all these questions as well. The 10th one, it's a classic question because you are not going to do with the equation, but with the trial and error. And sometimes you can use such approaches as well. So let's read the data first, which is very, very confusing. So we'll have to read it very slowly and let that sink in again. Each son in the family has equal number of brothers and sisters. Each son in the family has equal number of brothers and sisters. So each guy has either one brother or one sister and one sister, or two brothers or two sisters, or three brothers or three sisters. So this statement itself will tell you two things. The total number of kids is odd and the number of boys is one more than the number of girls. These two things are very, very important. And the second part is the condition with which we are going to play trial and error. Each daughter in the family has twice as many as brothers as she has sisters. So for every daughter, how many sisters she has, double of that brothers she should have, and how many children are there in the family. So based on the first line, I have figured that out that total number has to be odd. So option 10, fourth option, and cannot be determined goes out. 759 are my only three possibilities. So let's see the working. Let's assume. So this statement, each son has equal number of brothers and sisters. This will tell us two things. Odd number of children and sons is one more than daughters. So let's assume the cases first. Let's assume there is only one girl in the family. So obviously, to satisfy the above restriction, there will be two boys present in the family so that the total is odd and number of boys is one more than number of girls. Now, if I consider this girl, how many sisters she has? So she has zero sisters. But how many brothers she has? So she has two brothers. And if I compare the relation, the second line of the data, each daughter has twice as many as brothers as she has the sisters. So is the number of brothers is twice the number of sisters? So no. So this case doesn't hold true. Second case, let's add one more girl. So we'll have to add one more boy as well to the scheme. Again, when we compare the original girl, now she has one sister. But how many brothers she has? So she has three brothers. Again, is the number of brothers twice the number of sisters? No. So this also doesn't hold. Then the last case, let's add one more girl. So one more boy will also be added. Again, now we compare the original girl. Now she has two sisters. And how many brothers she has? So she has four brothers. And again, when we ask the question that the number of brothers that the girl has is the twice the number of sisters, then yes, it holds. So friends, this is the answer, which is total children, seven total children in the family, which is first option. So we are not even forming any single equation. With the common sense and with the help of data, we can also find some of the answers if you're smart enough to represent the data and understand the data correctly. 11th one, the last one, standard bread and butter question again, forming the equation, solving them. Sum of the ages of two sisters, 18 years hence. 18 years hence is in future. So suppose their current ages are x and y. 18 years in future, it will be x plus 18 and y plus 18. And their sum, so we'll have to add that, is twice the sum of their ages today. So 2 times x plus y. So x plus 18 plus y plus 18 is 2 times x plus y is what we know. That's the first equation. If the difference in their ages is 10 years, so x minus y is 10, how old is the elder sister? So x minus y is 10. Solve both the equations. So first equation is this. You solve that, you will get x plus y as 36. And second equation will be the difference is 10. So x minus y is 10. You solve both these equations, you add them, you'll get the value of x, which is 23. Substitute, you'll get the value of y as 13. So question was elder sister's age. Elder sister's age is 23. I think it is not present in the option, so we will mark none of these and write down 23 as the answer beside that. Or if 23 is present, then mark that as the answer. So this is how you can form the equations correctly and solve them. So with this, we are done with E1, that is linear equations. Thank you so much.